Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next hour. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar attends the 7th meeting of the India-Nepal Joint Commission in Nepal. Nearly 100 killed as twin blasts rock Iran at 4th anniversary of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani's death. Ocean cargo rates climb as global shipping giants extend suspension in view of Red Sea ship attacks. UN Security Council members call for Houthis to stop attacks. Bowlers put India in driver's seat in Cape Town test against South Africa. Takes 2 early wickets on day 2 to take control of the match. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is attending 7th meeting of the India-Nepal Joint Commission in Kathmandu. The India-Nepal Joint Commission was established in 1987 and provides a platform for both ministers to review all aspects of the bilateral partnership. Nepal's Minister for Foreign Affairs, Nayan Prakash Saud, held a meeting with former Indian diplomats to discuss Nepal-India relations, seeking suggestions on ways to improve them. Nepal is a priority partner of India under its Neighbourhood First policy. On his arrival, Jaishankar tweeted saying, "Looking forward to the engagements over the next 2 days." Earlier, Jaishankar met Nepalese President Ramchandra Paudel at his office in Kathmandu. Discussions on bilateral relation and mutual cooperation were held during the meeting. The minister also called upon Nepali Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal. Dr. Jaishankar reached Nepal on Thursday for a 2-day visit at the invitation of Minister for Foreign Affairs of Nepal, N.P. Saud. And India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is on a 2-day visit to Kathmandu and is attending 7th meeting of the India-Nepal Joint Commission in Kathmandu. The India-Nepal Joint Commission was established in 1987 and provides a platform for both ministers to review all aspects of the bilateral partnership. Nepal's Minister for Foreign Affairs, Narayan Prakash Saud, held a meeting with former Indian diplomats to discuss Nepal-India relations, seeking suggestions on ways to improve them. Well, Nepal is a priority partner of India under its Neighbourhood First policy. All right, and let's go across to Kathmandu, where DD India's Shweta Singh is joining us live. Shweta, what latest are you getting for us from there as External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is on a 2-day visit to Kathmandu? All right, we are trying to connect and establish connection with Shweta, who's in Nepal. Meanwhile, a local court of Jaunpur in the North Indian state of Uttar Pradesh on Wednesday sentenced a Bangladeshi and another man to death over their role in 2005 Shram Jeevi Express blast, in which 14 people were killed and 62 were injured. Bangladeshi native Hilaluddin and Nafikul Biswas, a resident of West Bengal, were declared guilty by Additional Sessions Judge Rajesh Kumar Rai on December 22nd. The court also imposed a fine of ₹5 lakh each on the convicts, who were operatives of the Harkat-ul-Jihad al-Islami, a Pakistan-based extremist outfit. The Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center, or 14C, has said that the highest number of reported cybercrimes in 2023 were related to work from home or part-time job scams, followed by illegal lending apps. 14C CEO Rajesh Kumar said that illegal lending apps are second most commonly used tool by scammers, often operating from countries like China, Cambodia and Myanmar.
5,000 was the total number of complaints that are coming. Our estimate is that around 40 to 50% are originating from outside the country. But the rate of increase is decreasing. It's decelerating. It's not going exponentially, it is decelerating. So there is a point of inflection somewhere. So that was I was hinting at. Maybe because now in 2021, we had lesser number of people reporting. In 2023, we have a larger number of people reporting. Therefore, I use the term that it may be plateauing at. I cannot say for sure that it will not increase, but with the efforts that we are making, both ourselves, with law enforcement, with banking and telecom partners, we hope that these measures will help in reining in the volume of cybercrime.
Well, that was Mr. Rajesh Kumar from I4C. And Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Tirth Kshetra Trust enlists the features of the Ayodhya Ram Temple ahead of its consecration ceremony. The temple will be 161 feet tall with 5 mandaps. Features also involve the building style, height, idols, floor-wise separations, etc. Statues of deities, gods and goddesses adorn the pillars and walls of the temple. The entry to the temple is from the east, ascending 32 stairs through the Singh Dwar. There's a provision of ramps and lifts for the convenience of the differently abled and elderly pilgrims at the temple. Near the temple is a historic well called Sita Koop, dating back to the ancient era, says the Temple Trust. A pilgrims facility center with a capacity of 25,000 people is being constructed. It will provide medical and locker facilities to the pilgrims. Well, the United Nations has designated 4th January as World Braille Day. Braille is essential in the context of education, freedom of expression and opinion, as well as social inclusion. This day also marks the birth anniversary of inventor of Braille, French educator Louis Braille. DN India correspondent Kriti Vadera reports.
It is World Braille Day and we are joined by Dr. Bharati from CIT NCRT, and disability inclusion has been her forte. She has spent entire her journey in enabling teachers, educators for inclusive classrooms. Dr. Bharati, we welcome you on World Braille Day. And in India, according to the reports from National Program of Control of Blindness, it is said that 12 billion people are having this impairment of visual impairment, and 29% of the people can only make up to this education system. As an educator, professor by yourself, how do you see that this involvement of visually impaired children or people in classrooms can be enhanced?
While teaching mathematics, if we are doing some worksheet or some activity in the classroom, say for example, in mathematics we often teach children about the shapes, different shapes. So for this, what you have to do here, see, this is a worksheet where the children are expected to match the shapes. Now each shape is made tactile by again adding a favicol. So that is why I say involving children with blindness or visual impairment in the classrooms is so simple as compared to the other disability conditions.
It is seen that the literacy rate when it comes to Braille in education system is just 1%. So what are the measures with which we can actually uplift this literacy rate in terms of Braille literacy?
Yeah, see, you and I being sighted, we learn through print. But for children with blindness and visual impairment, their written mode of expression is through Braille, or which is also known as tactile script, because you touch it and you feel it and you read it through your fingertips. So for that, we need to spread awareness about Braille among the teachers, among the parents, among the siblings and the peers also, and of course children with blindness and visual impairment.
Although it seems a difficult task to educate children with visual impairment, but with such techniques and methodologies and with the right approach of Braille practices in classrooms, teaching and learning can be made easier. With camera person Shiv Suman, I'm Kriti Vadera reporting from New Delhi for DD India.
All right, we now tell you about some of the initiatives taken by several wings of Government of India for the visually impaired children. The National Institute of the Empowerment of Persons with Visual Disabilities signed agreement for the establishment of Universal Design Centre for Reading in Dehradun, Uttarakhand. Besides, the institute will also facilitate the provision of an online library containing accessible books and related resources tailored for persons with print disabilities. On its part, the Department of Science and Technology has developed braille maps using digital embossing technology, enabling easy use, user-friendly, better feeling and durable in terms of quality. Further, the National Institute for the Empowerment of Persons with Visual Disabilities has a state-of-the-art braille press that provides a braille version of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Mann Ki Baat program. Additionally, the press translates religious scriptures, academic books and works by various authors into braille script, making them accessible to institutions and visually impaired people across the country. Well, let's go back to a top story as India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is on a visit, a two-day visit to Kathmandu, and we have Shweta Singh joining us live from Kathmandu for more details. Shweta, what latest are you getting for us from there as External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is on a two-day visit to Kathmandu?
Siddharth, just now joint commission meeting completed,
okay.
And both the side reviewed the power trade agreement and small investment upgradation agreement. And now, as the lunch is ongoing, after this, both the parties will be signing both the agreements. And after the completion of the agreement signing, Mr. Jaishankar will be visiting Deoba, Congress leader, and Mr. KP Oli. So this is for today that he called upon President in the morning and Prime Minister. So for tomorrow, we have another inauguration of Kirtipur in Tribhuvan University. We have inauguration of Indian Corner, and we have other different launches. So visiting Pashupatinath temple in the morning, enhancing the cultural ties between the two countries. So this is scheduled.
Okay. Neighborhood first policy, this is what we are following, Shweta. Could you just tell us more about the Joint Commission meet, which you said just happened?
Actually, you see, in the Joint Commission meeting, both the side had their agendas. As Nepali side looked forward for bringing down the trade deficit. So they were stressing on power trade. Because I remind people that last year it was India who imported 11 billion of power from Nepal. So this was a huge jump economically for Nepal, a huge journey.
All right, Shweta, thank you so much for joining in. The Indian Space Agency will launch its next generation heavy communication satellite named GSAT-20 on SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket. This is the first time the Department of Space and Indian Space Research Organization will use SpaceX launcher, which may lift off from Florida. The commercial arm of ISRO, New Space India Limited, has signed a contract with SpaceX for a possible liftoff in the second quarter of this year. According to NSIL, GSAT-20 offers Kaka band high throughput satellites capacity with 32 beams having pan-India coverage including Andaman and Nicobar, Jammu and Kashmir and Lakshadweep Islands. All right, let's now take a look at other stories making news. A thin layer of ice was formed over Dal Lake in North India, Srinagar, amid extreme cold conditions as the mercury continued to settle below freezing point across Kashmir. Dal dwellers had a tough time breaking the ice sheet formed over the water body, where they were seen rowing their boats early morning and simultaneously breaking the ice formed over the lake to reach their destinations. Indian Border Security Forces troops of South Bengal frontier at border outpost Betai foiled a currency smuggling attempt at the international border of Nadia district in West Bengal and seized around $14 million valuing rupees 1.39 crores being smuggled to Bangladesh. Bird census begins at 5 ranges in Cheleka Lake in India's Odisha as 21 teams of experts deployed for the counting. Each team is provided with binoculars, two-way radios, GPS scale and other equipment to conduct the bird census in 5 ranges: Cheleka, Palugao, Satpada, Tangi and Ramba under the Chilika Wildlife Division. A large number of people have gathered to take part in the Margazi Ashtami Chariot Festival celebrated at Meenakshi Amman Temple in India's Madurai district of Tamil Nadu. Devotees celebrated the grand event with blowing of conches and beating drums. Women pulling the chariot is the major highlight of this festival. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Indian Navy maintains vigilance over maritime security in the North, Central Arabian Sea and Gulf of Aden. The US Secretary of State Antony Blinken to visit Middle East, including a stop in Israel. Stay with us to know more. UN nuclear watchdog says its inspectors denied access to parts of Ukraine's Russian-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. And now India's Ministry of External Affairs has expressed shock over bombings in Iran. The spokesperson of the ministry posted on X and said, "We are shocked and saddened on the terrible bombings in the Kerman city of Iran. At this difficult time, we express our solidarity with the government and people of Iran. Our thoughts and prayers are with the families of the victims and with the wounded." Twin blasts killed nearly 100 at 4th anniversary of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani's death in Iran on Wednesday. A flurry of reactions have followed since, and Iran has vowed to punish the guilty. Here's a report.
Iran was rocked by two explosions on the 3rd of January that marked the 4th anniversary of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani's death. Nearly 100 people have been killed in the blasts. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei has vowed revenge for the bombings. Iran's President Ibrahim Raisi condemned the twin bombings, stating that the perpetrators of this inhumane crime would be caught and punished for the heinous act.
Don't doubt it. You will pay the price for this crime. These crimes that you have committed, you will deeply regret.
The White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby said on Wednesday that the US has seen no indication that Israel was behind Iran's twin explosions.
Certainly, our hearts go out to all the innocent victims and their family members who are obviously, their lives are going to be forever changed by this. But we don't have any more detail in terms of how it happened or who might be responsible for it. We have no indication at this time at all that Israel was involved in any way whatsoever.
Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations, has firmly condemned the attack in Iran. The UN chief has demanded that those responsible must face the consequences.
The Secretary General strongly condemns the attack today on a memorial ceremony in Kerman City in the Islamic Republic of Iran, which reportedly killed more than 100 people and injured many more. The Secretary General calls for those responsible to be held accountable. And the Secretary General expresses his deep condolences to the bereaved families and the people and the government of the Islamic Republic of Iran, and he wishes the injured a speedy recovery.
Iranian Health Minister Bahram Ainullahi announced the death toll of the Wednesday attack, making it the deadliest attack in the history of this Islamic Republic, which has faced similar incidents in the past from various groups.
Shifting focus now, Members of the UN Security Council called on Yemen's Houthis to halt their attacks on shipping in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. More in the report.
Members of the United Nations Security Council on Wednesday called on Yemen's Houthis to halt their attacks on shipping in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden, saying that they threaten regional stability, global freedom of navigation and food supplies. Addressing the Council's first meeting of 2024, a U.S. representative to the United Nations, Chris Lu, said the United States believes that the situation has reached an inflection point.
Today, in light of both the broad support for Council action and continued Houthi attacks, the United States believes that we are at an inflection point. These attacks pose grave implications for maritime security, international shipping, and commerce, and they undermine the fragile humanitarian situation in Yemen, damaging the ability of the international community to deliver assistance to more than 21 million people in need. It is vital that the Council speak, and speak now.
13 nations led by the United States are jointly warning Houthi rebels of unspecified consequences unless they halt attacks on Red Sea shipping vessels. A joint statement was issued by US, Australia, Bahrain, Belgium, Canada, Denmark, Germany, Italy, UK, New Zealand, Netherlands, Japan, Singapore after the United Nations Security Council meeting on Wednesday. Meanwhile, ocean freight rates are surging after a missile attack. The attacks are already delaying delivery of products. All the major shipping companies have halted the transit through Red Sea. As of Wednesday, hundreds of container ships and other vessels have been rerouted around Africa's southern Cape of Good Hope to avoid the attacks. Yemen-based Houthi militants have been attacking high-value cargo vessels in the Red Sea since November in a show of support for Palestinian Islamist group Hamas fighting Israel in Gaza. It has forced ships to reroute around the southern tip of Africa.
Indian Navy continues to monitor maritime security situation in North Central Arabian Sea and Gulf of Aden. Indian naval ships and aircraft remain mission deployed for maintaining enhanced surveillance and undertaking maritime security operations. In the last 1 week, Indian naval task groups have investigated large number of fishing vessels and boarded vessels of interest. Indian Navy remained committed towards ensuring safety of merchant shipping and seafarers in the region. United States continues diplomatic consultations on the Israel-Gaza conflict. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken will depart on Thursday for the Middle East, including a stop in Israel. U.S. diplomatic envoy Amos Hochstein is also expected to travel to Israel to work to soothe tensions between warring sides. On Saturday, Blinken will visit Turkey to discuss bilateral and regional issues. U.S. President Joe Biden spoke by phone to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in recent days as he works to improve access to Gaza for humanitarian aid and gain the release of hostages held by Hamas. Meanwhile, the U.S. will continue to maintain a significant military force presence in the Middle East amid the ongoing Israel and Hamas conflict. White House National Security spokesman John Kirby said U.S. remains focused to defend its national security interests.
The United States remains focused on working with a range of partners to help Israel defend itself, to surge humanitarian assistance to civilians in Gaza, and of course to defend our national security interests in the region. That most certainly includes protecting the free flow of international commerce in the Red Sea. Now, to accomplish these goals, we have established and will continue to maintain a significant force presence in the Middle East.
And the Israeli army on Wednesday released a video and photos of the chief of the general staff, Herzi Halevi, who was seen visiting a military base in the country's northern border area as tensions with Hezbollah simmered following the killing of terror group Hamas deputy Saleh al-Aruri this week. Israeli troops heightened readiness for war across all border areas where they have plans to increase soldiers. Both the Israeli army and Hezbollah made statements on Thursday suggesting the two avowed enemies wanted to avoid risking the further spread of the conflict. Well, updates now on Russia-Ukraine conflict. As per the latest briefings by both the sides, Russia said it thwarted Ukraine's attack on Belgorod Oblast on Wednesday, while Ukraine said it struck multiple military targets, including Russian command posts. The Russian Defense Ministry issued a battle report stating that Russian air defense forces shot down multiple missiles and rockets. They also repelled multiple attacks by the Ukrainian army in Donetsk, Kherson, Krasny, Liman and other directions. The Ukrainian armed forces said that the Ukrainian army continued to engage in 47 battles with the Russian army on the left bank of the Dnieper River and other directions. The Ukrainian missile forces also attacked Russian military command posts and other targets. In a biggest prisoner swap so far, Ukraine and Russia announced their first exchange of prisoners of conflict for nearly 5 months, with more than 200 freed by each. And after what Moscow said, it was a complex negotiation involving mediation by the United Arab Emirates. Russia's defense ministry said 248 military personnel had been handed over by Ukraine. Despite the lack of any dialogue on how to end the 22-month conflict, Kyiv and Moscow have held many prisoner swaps since the early months of Russia's invasion in February 2022. Prisoners embrace their loved ones after being reunited with them following the hostage prisoner swap between Russia and Ukraine. Turkey has said on Tuesday it would not allow 2 mine hunter ships donated to Ukraine by Britain to enter the Black Sea through the Turkish Straits while the Russia-Ukraine conflict continues. Turkish analysts said Turkey adheres to its consistent position on maintaining peace in the Black Sea region and opposes adding fuel to the fire over Russia-Ukraine conflict. The International Atomic Energy Agency said on Wednesday its inspectors for the first time had been denied access to parts of Ukraine's Russian-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station. DG of the UN nuclear watchdog, Rafael Grossi, said inspectors at the plant for 2 weeks had no access to the main halls of reactors 1, 2 and 6. He added that they are yet to receive 2024 maintenance plans for the facility. The IAEA chief has visited the plant 3 times since the invasion, a complicated undertaking crossing the front lines of the 22-month-old conflict. Grossi has repeatedly called for an end to fighting in the vicinity of the facility to avoid any catastrophic accidents. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Rescue efforts underway in Japan following devastating earthquake. South Korean and US troops hold joint combat firing drills in Pocheon. US House Speaker condemns current migration crisis ahead of members of Republican-led committee's plans to impeach Biden's border chief.
Hello and welcome to DD India. I'm Akshay Dongre and you're watching our special program Voice of the Global South, a show that brings to you stories, news, achievements and concerns of a rising aspirational world. So let us begin with today's episode.
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds. We get to the heart of the matter.
We don't just present facts. We demystify complex social, political, and economic events.
We break stories that shape the world's present and future because you deserve the truth.
I am Tanvi Taneja from New Delhi.
I'm Ollie Barrett from London.
I'm Nick Harper from Washington, D.C.
Join us on DD India Global Monday to Friday at these times.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj and let's have a look at the headlines once again. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar attends 7th meeting of the India-Nepal Joint Commission in Nepal. Nearly 100 killed as twin blasts rock Iran at 4th anniversary of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani's death. Ocean cargo rates climb as global shipping giants extend suspension in view of Red Sea ship attacks. UN Security Council members call for Houthis to stop attacks. Bowlers put India in driver's seat in Cape Town test against South Africa. Takes 2 early wickets on day 2 to take control of the match. Rescue efforts in Japan were stepped up as the end of a crucial 72-hour survival window neared for the Japan's quake, which has left at least 77 dead. Search for survivors under collapsed buildings is underway. More than 33,000 people have evacuated their homes and about 100,000 houses have no water supply.
In light of the major earthquake that struck on Monday, Prime Minister Fumio Kishida instructed the relevant ministries and agencies to assess the damage as soon as possible to ensure the safety of the public and rescue any victims. Japan's government has also opened a sea route to deliver aid, and some larger trucks were now able to reach some of the more remote areas.
The situation in the affected area is very challenging, but from the perspective of saving lives, we are making all efforts to rescue and to provide life-saving aid to as many people as possible before the crucial 72-hour period following the disaster lapses this evening.
Residents in Japan's quake-affected areas are struggling for basic amenities like food, water and health facilities. People queuing for food said the lack of water following the quake was their biggest worry.
The biggest problem now is that there's not enough drinking water and no water to flush the toilets. I brought my mother here from her home where the water supply had been cut off. I don't know how to describe my feelings now. Having a place to live is good enough.
Local authorities have set up a temporary water supply facility near the local waterworks to provide tap water for the quake victims.
The water supply here was mostly cut off after the earthquake on Monday. Some areas have now been restored, but about 70% of the region still have no water.
Meanwhile, 2 days after a Japan Airlines plane collided with a Coast Guard plane and burst into flames on the tarmac, even as probe continues, travelers at Tokyo's Haneda Airport were forced to cope with flight cancellations and delays. According to local media reports, more than 100 flights have been cancelled as a result of the incident, stranding travelers. Japan Airlines has estimated that the collision of its flight with the Japan Coast Guard aircraft would result in an operating loss of about $104.81 million. The loss will be covered by the insurance, the company said.
All right, and DD India correspondent Chris Gilbert joins us with more details. Chris, what's the current status of the search and rescue operations there, and have there been any updates on the number of survivors found since the earthquake?
Well, the death toll is now past 80, and there has been a list of missing persons that has been released by the Ishikawa prefecture where the earthquake happened, and that is standing currently at 50. But look, there seems to be a dawning realization by the government that time is truly running out now. It has been more than 72 hours since the earthquake happened. And that is the window that is believed by experts to be absolutely crucial in finding survivors either isolated or cut off by the roads or under collapsed buildings or collapsed houses. And so the Prime Minister on Thursday morning, a few hours ago, said that he wanted rescuers throughout Thursday to absolutely double their efforts and really work with urgency as much as possible to find survivors and save as many lives as possible. And then he has extended the number of respondents from 1,000 to about 4,500. But it's a difficult challenge because many of these communities are still unreachable. The roads are damaged or blocked by mudslides or rockfalls and adverse weather conditions. People have been found walking down the road in the middle of the night just to tell the outside world that they are okay. So it is truly difficult to grasp for locals and for officials there the extent of the damage and just what needs to be done to save lives and keep hope that lives can still be saved from here.
Okay, Chris, you just said that time is running out for government. Can you just elaborate a bit on that?
Yeah, I mean, they're trying their absolute best, but as I say, the roads are blocked, and just to get an idea of the extent of the damage, I mean, in the main cities of Wajima there's 300 buildings that have been demolished. In the city of Suzu, 90% of their 5,000 households have been demolished, and there's untold damage beyond that. And of course, the public infrastructure, such as power lines, have been felled all over the region, so it's difficult to put a price tag on it.
Okay. Chris, now can you just provide information on the extent of the damage caused by the earthquake, particularly in terms of infrastructure, buildings and roads, now that you've said that rescue efforts, according to the government, is being doubled up?
Yeah, and the budget is being doubled as well for relief. I mean, there is a turning focus now about what this is going to look like going on beyond the search and rescue efforts. By January 9, they want to double the relief budget and the recovery budget for the region. But as I say, the focus really is at the moment on finding anybody who is still under the rubble as they're going into a fourth night now, a fourth cold winter's night for people. And beyond this, there are still 30,000 people in evacuation centres, and the government is warning of a prolonged state of evacuation. We saw that following the Fukushima tsunami. People 12 years later are still in a state of evacuation, so there are concerns about, for the 30,000 that are currently evacuees at the moment, when and if they could ever go back to their homes.
Okay, Chris, now, can you also provide details on the sequence of the events leading up to the collision between the Japan Airlines plane and the earthquake relief aircraft at Haneda Airport? And are there any reports on the condition of the runway or other infrastructure at the Haneda Airport following the incident?
Well, just to answer your second question first, 3 out of the 4 runways are currently operational, but this is the busiest travel period of the year for Japan, being the New Year's holiday period, and it's a major hub. So there are delays of at least 2.5 hours currently for most major, for most domestic flights anyway. But the airport is at 3/4 functionality at the moment, with some flights being diverted to Narita Airport nearby. Now, in terms of what happened, that investigation is still certainly in the midst of determining why the Coast Guard plane was on the tarmac. Now, traffic control transcripts that have been released by authorities do confirm that Japan Airlines 516 did have permission to land, and that the Coast Guard plane seems to have been told to hold short, or it was not given clearance for takeoff. So questions do remain about why it was on the tarmac. The Coast Guard on Wednesday said it believed it had the green light, and so that needs to be cleared up. And experts are saying it takes more than one error for these things to happen. There are reports that perhaps some guidance lights on the tarmac were out, but again, this investigation is going to take a while longer to get some firm answers.
All right, thank you so much, Chris, for all those details. And South Korean and US troops held a joint combat fighting drills in Pochin near the border with North Korea to test and enhance combat readiness, simulating enemy aggression. The joint exercise involved heavy weapons and took place over a week, starting on December 29 and ended on Thursday. The allies have dramatically increased the scale and intensity of joint drills in the past year amid escalating tension on the Korean peninsula, as Pyongyang tested both long-range ballistic missiles and tactical weapons designed to strike targets in the South and the Pacific. A quick update on South Korea's opposition Democratic Party leader Lee Jae-myung's health now. He was out of intensive care and recovering from surgery to repair a major vein that was sliced in a knife attack 2 days ago. According to doctors, Lee requires continued observation as the injury to the jugular vein he suffered required difficult procedures to repair and post-surgery complications could not be ruled out. The suspect in the case remains in police custody and faces a court hearing on a warrant for his formal detention as part of a criminal investigation on an attempted murder charge. Now, former U.S. President Donald Trump has asked the Supreme Court to reverse the Colorado Supreme Court's decision to take him off the state's primary ballot. The state high court had already put its decision on hold until January 4, stating that Trump would remain on the ballot if he appealed. Donald Trump is contesting the Colorado Supreme Court's decision to bar him from the state's primary ballot. He has also appealed to a Maine state court after he was barred from its ballot. The Colorado court concluded that Trump's role in instigating violence on January 6 constituted engaging in insurrection. Now, a suspect was arrested after breaking into the Colorado Supreme Court building in Denver and opening fire at responding police officers. The suspect, who was not identified, was taken into custody approximately 2 hours after officers arrived at the scene. The suspect's motive for the break-in was unclear. The Colorado Supreme Court has been the center of legal battle after it disqualified former President Donald Trump from the state's Republican primary ballot. Authorities have said nothing about any possible connection between the break-in and the Trump case. U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson condemned the current migration crisis at the U.S.-Mexico border to seek asylum. At a news conference, he described the situation as heartbreaking and infuriating and an unmitigated disaster and blasted the Biden presidency for its policies. Though the arrivals have receded in the past week, paving the way for the United States to reopen legal border crossings on Thursday. U.S. and Mexican officials have agreed to strengthen efforts to curb the record migration, with Biden's cabinet scheduled to meet with Mexican leaders in Washington later in January. Meanwhile, a Republican-led U.S. House of Representatives committee will next week seek to impeach Joe Biden's Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas. The members are alleging that Alejandro has had egregious misconduct and refused to enforce the law relation to immigration policy and the southern border. The House Homeland Security Committee will hold a hearing on January 10 on the impeachment allegations, while the witnesses will be announced in the coming days. Republicans have slammed Democratic President Joe Biden over border control. Meanwhile, migrants from Ciudad Juárez, Mexico, waded through the Rio Bravo River and navigated a Texan barbed wire fence to surrender to U.S. authorities seeking entry into the country. Migrants negotiated with officers near the fence before being processed. Migrants also forced themselves over barbed wire and rushing towards the border wall. Following these events, additional barbed wire was installed along the riverbank. Government data released indicates that U.S. immigration officials at the southern border are set to process over 300,000 migrants in December, making a record high monthly entries. Bangladesh heads into national election on 7th of January. 119 million voters will decide the fate of 1,970 candidates vying for 300 seats. The ruling party, Awami League, is contesting on 266 seats to seek its 4th term, while remaining seats are left for its alliance partners. Sheikh Hasina-led Awami League has been in power since 2009. Also, the number of women candidates is now 90, while 79 candidates from religious and ethnic minorities are contesting the polls. Moreover, the major opposition party, Bangladesh Nationalist Party, and its allies are boycotting the upcoming polls, alleging a free and fair election is not possible under the current government. Amid elections in Bangladesh, armed forces have been deployed in 62 districts to ensure peaceful holding of the 12th parliamentary elections. Meanwhile, Bangladesh's President Mohammad Shahabuddin, along with his wife, cast his vote through postal ballot, urging the countrymen to fulfill their civic duty by voting. Now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. A dramatic courtroom video showed a convicted felon attacking the presiding judge during a sentencing. Clark County judge was about to levy her decision on prison time for convicted felon Deobra Redden when he ran up and jumped over furniture to assault her. Video shows the expression on judge's face as Redden quickly approached a flagpole collapsing and court personnel trying to detain Redden as he yelled expletives before being dragged away. French highliner Nathan Paulin wowed Chileans by performing on a 164 feet slackline spanning 886 feet over Santiago's downtown on Wednesday. Cheers and applause echoed on the ground after Paulin, who was attached to a safety line, successfully ended his performance. The show marked the inauguration of a local theatre festival called Teatro a Mil, or Theatre to 1,000. As October 7th Hamas attacks unfolded around the southern border of Israel, and Israeli-Ukrainian painter Zoya Cherkasy created paintings showcasing 12 small format scenes from the day of the Hamas attacks. One of the works is titled 7 October 2023 with a light bulb in an all-seeing eye. It's inspired by Pablo Picasso's famous painting Guernica, a work that portrays suffering wrought by violence and chaos. Still to come on DD India News Hour. India's Surya Kumar Yadav and Yashasvi Jaiswal in contention for the International Cricket Council Awards. Luke Humphries lifts World Darts Championship title, defeats a young Luke Litter. And home to many species, London Zoo begins animal stocktake.
In a world that never stops, where information shapes our reality, one app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis, and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights, and authentic information.
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds. We get to the heart of the matter.
We don't just present facts, we demystify complex social, political and economic events.
We break stories that shape the world's present and future because you deserve the truth.
I am Tanvi Taneja from New Delhi.
I'm Ollie Barrett from London.
I'm Nick Harper from Washington, D.C.
Join us on DD India Global Monday to Friday at these times. In a world that never stops, where information shapes our reality, one app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis, and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights, and authentic information. Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Time now for sport. And starting from cricket, India has taken control in the second and final test against South Africa after 23 wickets and several records fell on day one at Newlands, Cape Town. On day two, India struck early with as many as 4 wickets. Bumrah ripped apart Protea's middle order with Jansen and Maharaj all fell cheaply. Aiden Markram has held fort from one end as he's fighting the lone battle. Proteas will hope that he bats on and set India a fighting total. Till the latest report came in, South Africa were over 130 runs for the loss of 7 wickets. Earlier, on day one, seamer Mohammad Siraj took a career best of 6 wickets for 15 runs as the visitors skittled the hosts for 55 in the first innings. India was going well at 153 for 4 in reply before they lost 6 wickets without scoring a single run, the first time that has happened in tests. And also, Australia reached 116 for 2 on the rain-disrupted second day of the third test against Pakistan on Thursday. Bad light stopped play midway through the second session before a huge rainstorm swept down across the city, leaving the home batsmen kicking their heels for the remainder of the day. Australia is still 197 runs behind Pakistan's first innings score of 313. Manas Labuschagne, who was 23 not out, and Steve Smith, unbeaten on 6, will resume on day 3 on Friday when no rain is forecast. Australia hold an unassailable lead in the 3-match series against Pakistan after victories in the tests in Perth and Melbourne, but will be desperate to send batter David Warner into retirement as a winner on his home ground. India's Surya Kumar Yadav and Yashasvi Jaiswal have been nominated for the International Cricket Council Awards for their performances in 2023. Surya Kumar is among the 4 nominees for the ICC Men's T20 Cricketer of the Year. The other 3 nominees are Sikandar Raza of Zimbabwe, Alpesh Ramjani of Uganda, and Mark Chapman of New Zealand. Yadav dominated in the shortest format with 733 runs from 17 innings at an average of 48.86 and strike rate of 155.95. The 33-year-old has also scored the second fastest 100 for India against Sri Lanka. Jaiswal, on the other hand, has been nominated for the ICC Emerging Men's Cricketer of the Year. Apart from Jaiswal, New Zealand's star batter Rachin Ravindra, South Africa's pace sensation Gerald Coetzee, and Sri Lanka pacer Dilshan Madhushankar are the contenders to win the award. India's premier domestic tournament, Ranji Trophy, is all set to commence from January 5. A total of 38 teams will compete in 137 matches over a period of 2 months for the coveted title. Saurashtra are the defending champions, having won the 2022-23 season. DD India correspondent Abhishek Prasad with more details ahead of the start of the tournament.
India's premier domestic first-class cricket competition, the Ranji Trophy, is all set to begin on the 5th of this month. The much important series, which is played by various state and regional teams, is one of the most sought-after tournaments to show one's skills and prepare for international tournaments. Speaking on the preparations, Ranji cricket player Divij Mehra says that he is optimistic on delivering a great show for Delhi in the opening domestic tournament of the year.
This year is going to be a big season for me right now because I proved myself last year, but now I have to continue that for the team and make the team win single-handedly and try to do as well as I can for the team, because I also know there are a few emerging tournaments coming and my name was in the Dilip Trophy standby last year. So I will try to do whatever I can to improve that and increase that so that I can help the team win and it can benefit me as well.
This year, the tournament will begin in the month of January and will witness the participation of as many as 38 teams who will play a total number of 137 matches. 28 states of India along with 4 union territories will watch it out for the coveted title. In addition to this, 4 regional teams also participates in the coveted tournament along with 2 pan-Indian teams, Railways representing Indian Railways and Services representing the Indian Armed Forces. The teams are divided into 2 categories, Elite and Plate. The Elite category is the top division which consists of 32 teams split into 4 groups of 8 teams each. On the other hand, Plate group, which is the bottom division, will have 6 teams. Each team in the Elite category will play the other 7 teams in their group once. The top 2 teams from each Elite group will advance to the quarterfinals. The Plate division will also see each team play the other 5 sides once. The top 4 teams out of 6 will advance to the Plate group knockouts. According to the Ranji Trophy format, the 2 finalists from the Plate group will be promoted to the Elite group for the next season. The 2 bottom place teams from the Elite groups will be relegated to Plate group based on points, bonus points, wins and quotient. The league stage will end on February 19 and the knockout rounds will begin from February 23, with the tournament concluding on March 14. Saurashtra are the defending champions, whereas Mumbai are the most successful team in the history of the championship with 41 titles. Named after one of India's first test cricketers, Ranjit Singh, the Ranji Trophy is the premier domestic first-class cricket championship played in India and is organized by BCCI annually. Numerous top state-level cricketers with an aim to make it to the national team play in this tournament. The Ranji Trophy season 2023-24 starts from January 5. With cameraman Shubham, this is Abhishek Prasad from Arun Jaitley Stadium in New Delhi, DD India.
Teenage sensation Luke Littler's history-making run at the World Darts Championship ended on Wednesday when the 16-year-old sensation was beaten 7-4 in the final by Luke Humphries. The unseeded Littler was on debut at the tournament and would have become the youngest ever winner of darts' biggest prize, but lost an epic match at the Alexandra Palace in London. All right, let's take you to London Zoo now. From the mighty tiger to the endangered giant Galapagos tortoise, London Zoo embarked on its annual stocktake on Wednesday, counting roughly 14,000 animals. All right, and that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.